Welcome to StormandNo.net, a new way of looking on online TV. I hope you've been enjoying all of our TV shows. I think that they've been enlightening, informing our community about stuff that you just didn't know. And today will be no different. These guys have been friends. I met these guys when I was a city councilman. I call them the Buccini brothers. That's almost like the Blues Brothers. Rob and Chris, how you guys doing, man?
Good to see you, Storm.
Hey, let's jump right into it, man. You guys are doing some fabulous, incredible stuff, not just here in the state of Delaware, but around the country. How did you get in this business?
I'll let Chris take the lead on that.
Well, our family has been in real estate for a long time, and construction really. Our granddad came over from Italy, and a lot of his family came over in Italy, and they came over with no education. They started as builders, and Rob and I grew up, and we saw our family members in the business, and we just always assumed we were going to be in the real estate world. And born and raised here in the Little Italy part of Wilmington, Delaware, and just we always knew we were going to be in real estate some way, shape, or form.
You know, some of the projects that you guys have been taking on here, especially in the city of Wilmington, I mean, I'm in this world like you guys are. People are like, that's risky. I mean, like, were you nervous? I mean, it's been some trying times, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think early on when we started building the city, there was no market study that you could point to. There was no business plan. A lot of what we've done had never been done before, especially the family, the multifamily housing that we're building. So I think there was a huge leap of faith in the majority of the projects. I mean, just for example, the Westin Hotel or the IMAX movie theater. And so you're really betting that your gut's going to be right and your gut's going to work. Obviously, you do as much analysis as you can. So when you start construction, it's nervous, and you lose sleep. Especially in the recession. I mean, I don't think I slept personally for 3 years from 2007 to 2010. I mean, it just was a trying time, but we've emerged stronger and with an even higher focus on Wilmington.
But you guys, if I could say, I mean, we could be kind of real.
Yeah.
You guys were pretty much like the new guys on the block, right? So were you experiencing a lot of backlash, like from the old developers?
Well, it was 15. This is 1998, 1999, and the other thing was Rob and I, born and raised here in Wilmington, in the city of Wilmington, but we lived in New York City, and we were doing, at other jobs, we were doing projects around the country, and we always felt like Wilmington was just as good as these other cities. So we were bringing ideas that were tried and true in other places and just importing them here today. And that goes back to 1998, really, and at the time we were the new kids on the block.
But when it started going like this, Rob, I know you were feeling, I mean, you and I talked a
Yeah,
little bit, you
yeah.
were feeling like, dude, how the hell am I gonna get out of this? Right? I mean, it was like he was he was like asking me for 10 cents for coffee. I'm like, dude, I can't help you.
I love going out to in 2008. I'd want to go out to lunch with Norm because I know he'd pay. I had 4 kids, so save him for dinner. But no, listen. In 2008, every bank, or not every, but a lot of the banks that were doing business with are gone out of business, and there was these relationships that you had with the bankers. Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, RBS, Greenwich Capital, and Wilmington Trust, and it was very scary when the counterparty, the person on the other side of the transaction, they couldn't pay their bills, and you're like, well, we're the little guy here in the transaction. What if you're laying off all these people? How are we going to sustain? And we saw revenue plummet. Our hotels, people stopped traveling. People didn't have money to pay their rent. Our retail tenants, they didn't have money to pay their rent, and so you really. We're in a situation that was unprecedented. There was no playbook that you could go back to because it was the worst economy since the Great Depression. And, we made it through. My brother really took the lead, and because of him, we're here today. That's very true. I think anyone who works here in our company
But I also think just in our whole company, just show up for work. You know what you're doing the right thing, and you just day at a time, and eventually you work your way through it.
And I think, Norman, you love sports like me,
Right.
and I think the one thing, and Chris and I playing sports our whole lives, and then in college, I think the one thing that was key was we learned how to play sports here in Wilmington, and we knew that you're not going to win every day, and when you lose, you got to get back up, and you want to get kicked in the teeth, you got to pick yourself up. I think what we learned in sports was so critical. Sports, be it playing in a football game in Canby Park or against St. Elizabeth's or wherever it is, Banner Stadium, I think that was the stuff that really prepared you for the adversity that we had for the recession.
And playing as a team, right? This is not an individual. Yeah. This is a big team we've got.
But you guys don't come up come off as like some arrogant guys. I mean, you know, seriously. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are like wealthy, fucking rich guys. I mean, with Italian suits on and shit, right? If we come across, how many?
Will you
guys,
keep us modest?
You used to be on,
First off, our mom would beat us if we were.
you used to be on Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
How many employees did you have out there?
Well, Rob, I'll speak. Rob started the business when he was 24.
24. Wow.
24 years old with a bunch of credit cards and
Credit card debt.
right. And then I joined him about 5 years after he started he and Dave Poland started. They were college roommates. Started the business together. They started out of their living rooms and they grew to an industrial park down in Newcastle.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, we obviously, you know, a lot of ways we started on third base. We got unbelievable parents who have invested in our business and were, you know, really drive us. And, you know, our mother, you know, when the times were tough and you really looked out of sorts, you know, she would come in instead of giving you like, oh, it's going to be okay, honey. She would yell at you to work harder and not to lose her money that she invested in us. And so I think, you know, it's really cool.
And, you know, we were blessed with, you know, grandparents who literally came over from Italy, and with my mom and dad, they sent my mom and dad to like the best schools that they could send them to. So it was always family, education. Those are the two overriding principles, and work your tail off.
You know, a lot of people are going to watch this, right? In all sincerity, what do you tell folks, right? Because you got a roadmap. I mean, like, because you could have quit. You could have just said, fuck it, I'm done. You know, what did you tell them? I mean, what advice can you give someone?
If you work for yourself or you're in your own business and it's something that, you know, Chris and Dave Poland and I, we share with our whole staff, you know, Wes Schwant and the group, is that you have to be able to run through a wall if you want to be in business, because every day you get up, you start with, you know, you got to eat what you kill, right? So I'm not going to work at Google today where no matter how good or bad I do, I'm going to get a check on Friday. You might get laid off after a few years. Here, every day we have to create revenue. And so in order to create revenue, to pay all our bills and, you know, hopefully whatever's left over is what, you know, we keep, is you got to be able to literally run through walls. You need to be able to, you know, don't be afraid to call anyone on the phone. You know, we cold call, you know, every day I'm cold calling someone. Chris is cold calling someone. We're constantly trying to figure out how can we, you know, create revenue. I don't know, does that make sense?
No, it does.
But I'll say this,
Yeah.
you know, number one is you got to work your tail off, right? So Rob's been doing this for 25 years. I've been doing it for 20. Those are in human years, but in Rob years, I mean, like in human, those are 25 in Rob years, but in human years, it's like 50 years, right?
Yeah.
We work, it's 24/7. We work our tail off. Everyone in this company works their tail off. And we like to say we try to lead from the front where there's nothing too small to do. I mean, we'll do anything that anyone else in our business will do, we'll do.
And we're not like you, Norm, at 5 o'clock, we're not heading to the golf course or, you know, going to happy hour. I mean, Norman, you know, like we're here 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. We're here on the weekends. And so I think, you know, you need drive to be in business for yourself. And we talk about this all the time. It's like, it is hard.
I know.
To be
And I
in
think
business.
it's kind of cool, you know, like my brother was my roommate in college, and people would say, man, you're not going to get along. You can't be with your brother. But you guys, you get along. I mean, but do you go at us? I mean,
Oh, every day. As Pam,
I mean,
you know our assistant.
Like different personalities.
Yeah,
I mean,
We're very similar at our core, but very different on the outside.
We have
And,
complementing personalities and thought processes. You know, Chris, I didn't get into Princeton. Chris got into Princeton. You know, clearly he's been smarter.
Well, I got into
he got,
Yale State.
he got, yeah, that's right. He got the better
No,
genes.
but you know, the key is really, I think each one of us knows that the other has a skill set that's completely complementary to the other. And it really is, I think 1 + 1 is 3 here.
I appreciate that.
And we like you asked Pam, and we go at it during the day. We'll argue, we challenge each other's ideas, and you know, Pam Gardner, our assistant, you know, she sometimes, you know, says she's babysitting today. So she just had a child, and it was good practice working
Well,
with us.
we gave Pam a shout out.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to thank you guys for taking your time. And before I close, I got to give your father a shout out, the real D. That's my man, Mr. B.
Mr. B.
But you guys want to say anything in closing?
Yeah, it's been great to be your
I
buddy.
think you guys have done some tremendous stuff. If I can, you guys have done some tremendous stuff here in the city of Wilmington and the state of Delaware, and I don't know where the city would be without these guys, and I mean that honestly. And I can say that because I know, and I was the chair of economic development, and I know some of the times that you guys went through.
You know, we always say we're in 7, 8, 9 states, our business, but Wilmington's where our heart is, right? And so this is, the stuff we do here at Wilmington's personal because we care. Right? This is stuff that really matters to us. And so I think, we've all been in the trenches together here, and we thank you for everything you're doing with this whole video TV series, but also things you do in the community, because at the end of the day, for us to be a great city, all the neighborhoods and all the communities have to be great. So
And then,
thank
for
you.
example, the shop, right? Like, there's nothing better in the morning. You stop in there for a cup of coffee, and you actually see all the people that are in their shop and all the employees. There's hundreds of people that work there. And you're like, wow, we helped create that. I mean, that's just makes you feel good.
I do have one gripe. I got downgraded a little bit from like the Madison Hotel to Embassy Suites. I was like staying in suites at the Madison, man.
Right? Well, you're no longer on,
I know, I'm on like the D list.
you're on the D list,
Thank you, man.
Thank you, pal.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.